They thought she was just a phase. Someone to get over. A name he'd forget when the next country club debutante came calling. But what they didn't know, what they couldn't possibly understand, was that this black woman they were so eager to dismiss would not only change their son's life, but their entire world. It all started with a dinner. A dinner that was never meant to be kind, never meant to be welcoming. A dinner that was, in truth, a test, a trial disguised in silverware and fake smiles. For Alana Price, it was the moment she walked into the Whitmore estate with her head high and her heart armored, only to realize the people on the other side of that grand mahogany door weren't looking to meet her. They were looking to dismantle her, piece by piece. And still she smiled. But let's rewind, just a little, because this isn't just about a dinner gone wrong. This is about legacy, race, power. And the moment a woman who had every reason to walk away decided to stand and show the world exactly who she was. When Julian Whitmore first saw Alana, it wasn't in some fancy setting. It was in the break room of the nonprofit they both volunteered at, a place that served underserved youth and focused on financial literacy. Alana, fresh out of Harvard Law with her dreads pinned in a low bun, was organizing pamphlets for a weekend workshop. Julian, the golden-haired old money darling of the Whitmore family, was offering tax tutoring to kids who'd never even had a bank account. Their worlds couldn't have been more different. His hands had never known labor. Hers were calloused from the weight of everything she'd had to carry: family expectations, racism, survival. And yet, their chemistry was undeniable. They fell hard, fast, but quietly. Alana didn't trust easily, and Julian knew better than to parade his feelings like a trophy. So for months, they loved in shadows: coffee breaks, whispered debates, late-night calls that stretched into morning. But even shadows cast light eventually. Julian told his parents, Richard and Evelyn Whitmore, over brunch at their estate in Cape Avalon. Between bites of caviar and criticism of the latest country club board, he said it plain: "I'm seeing someone. I'm serious about her." Evelyn, all pearls and poison, blinked once. "Is she like us?" Julian paused. "She's brilliant. She went to Harvard Law." Richard lowered his newspaper. "That's not what your mother meant." Julian set his fork down. "She's black." Silence. Then Evelyn's voice like acid on silk: "You're young. You'll outgrow this." But he didn't. He wouldn't. That's why Alana was finally invited to dinner at the Whitmore estate. Except it wasn't really an invitation. It was a warning shot. And Alana, knowing this, still came. Wearing a sleek black dress that hugged her confidence, heels that echoed with intention, and a quiet fire in her eyes that said, "Try me." She walked into that estate like she belonged there, even though every inch of it was designed to tell her she didn't. "Miss Price," Evelyn said, her voice dripping in condescension. "You're prettier than I expected." "And you're exactly what I expected," Alana replied smoothly. The table was set for war. Julian, bless his heart, tried to bridge the worlds. He asked about the nonprofit, about shared goals. But Evelyn kept steering the conversation into landmines. "So tell me, Alana, what do your parents do?" "My mother is a professor at Howard. My father's a federal judge." "Oh, impressive." Evelyn sipped her wine. "For government work." Richard chuckled. "And where did you grow up?" "D.C., Alana answered. "Southeast." Evelyn said. "You've really climbed far." Alana nodded. "Some of us were born climbing." The passive aggression turned sharp. Richard began bringing up merit, and fit, and tradition. Evelyn leaned into legacy, name, and inheritance. And Alana sat through it all, calm, poised, and internally cataloging every insult. Until Evelyn crossed a line. Julian's world isn't compatible with someone who might not understand its nuances. He needs someone who fits in. Someone who won't embarrass the family. The words stung. Not because they were original, Alana had heard versions of them her whole life, but because they were meant to humiliate, to diminish. Julian stood then, jaw tight. "Enough, mother." But Alana touched his arm gently. "No. Let her speak." She turned to Evelyn. "You're right. I don't fit into your world. I don't want to. Because your world is built on exclusion. But don't mistake that for weakness. I didn't come here to impress you. I came because I love your son. And if that's not enough for you, that's your loss, not mine." Evelyn's lip curled. "Love isn't enough. Legacy is." Alana smiled. Funny you mention that. But before she could go further, something changed. A shift in Julian's posture. He glanced down at his phone and frowned. What is it? Alana asked. My sister just texted me, he said. She overheard Dad on a call. Richard's face paled. That's private business. You called in a background check on Alana? Julian said, his voice rising. You had someone tail her family? Evelyn quickly stood. Julian, sit down. But he wouldn't. What else did you do? Richard rose too. We did what was necessary to protect this family's name. By spying on her? On her parents? Julian turned to Alana. I'm so sorry. I didn't know. Alana clenched her jaw. You never had to protect me. I'm not a threat. But I promise you I'm not powerless either. Just then the butler entered with a letter. Miss Price, this came for you by courier. Confused, Alana opened it. As she read, her eyes narrowed. What is it? Julian asked. Alana looked up. It's from the board of the Whitmore Foundation. Evelyn stiffened. That's impossible. Apparently, Alana said coolly, I've just been named chair of the oversight committee for your family trust. The room froze. Richard looked like he'd swallowed glass. That's a mistake. No, Alana said, folding the letter with precision. That's legacy. Julian blinked. You knew. Alana gave a small smile. I suspected. I've been consulting on some reforms through my firm. I didn't realize the foundation was yours. Evelyn's face drained of color. You're going to control the trust? Oversee it, Alana said. But yes. Technically, I now have veto power over any major allocations, including donations, property acquisitions, and public relations budgets. You planned this, Richard growled. No, Alana said, her voice quiet but unshakable. You did. The moment you decided to investigate me, you triggered a compliance audit. And when your accounting firm flagged irregularities, they brought in outside counsel, my firm. Evelyn looked like she might faint. You think you can tear us apart? Alana leaned in slightly. No. I think you already did that yourselves. But before she could say more, Julian's phone buzzed again. He looked down and his face turned white. What is it now? Alana asked. It's a press leak. He showed her the headline, Whitmore family accused of racial discrimination, internal power struggles go public, Evelyn gasped. Who leaked that? Richard's jaw clenched. Who do you think? But Alana shook her head. Not me. Julian turned to her. Then who? A voice came from the shadows of the hallway. That would be me. Everyone turned. A tall black woman in a tailored white suit stepped into the dining room with a quiet authority that silenced the air. Who are you? Evelyn demanded. The woman smiled. Someone you should have remembered. Julian's eyes widened. Wait, Aunt Celeste. Evelyn froze. You were excommunicated. No, Celeste said, stepping forward. I walked away. I built my own empire. And now I'm back. Why now? Richard spat. Celeste looked at Alana, then smiled. Because I'm tired of watching brilliant black women be torn down. Because it's time the real power in this family stood up. And because Alana is my goddaughter. Silence. Breathless. Frozen. But it wouldn't stay that way for long. Because what came next would shatter the Whitmore dynasty from the inside out. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more powerful stories that uplift black voices and expose hidden truths. The silence after Celeste's announcement was heavy enough to drown in. Julian stood frozen, torn between the present and a past he barely knew existed. Evelyn Whitmore's jaw hung slack, her pearls seeming to tighten around her neck like a noose. Richard's grip on his wine glass threatened to shatter it. But Alana didn't move. She had learned a long time ago not to flinch when power shifted. She simply turned to Celeste with the ghost of a smile and said, You came. Celeste nodded with quiet pride. And I came prepared. She laid a thick leather-bound folder on the dining table. Inside is everything your little investigation turned up about Alana, plus everything my own investigation turned up about you. Evelyn's voice, brittle and sharp, cracked through the room. This is extortion. Celeste's smile never wavered. No, Evelyn. This is a reckoning. Richard stood, slamming his napkin onto the table. You have no authority to waltz into our home and throw accusations like confetti. Celeste met his glare evenly. Authority? I'm on the executive board of Whitmore Holdings now. Thanks to your father's forgotten amendments and a quiet majority that's grown tired of your leadership. Lies. Richard hissed. You were cut off decades ago. No, Celeste said, cool and composed. I was sidelined. There's a difference. You buried the only sister in this family because she chose to marry a black man and build her own legacy. But you forgot something. Power is like soil. Even when you think it's dead, the right roots can bloom again. Julian was trying to catch up, eyes darting between his aunt, his girlfriend, and the storm unraveling in his once pristine dining room. You mean to tell me, you're on the board? Celeste turned to him. Julian, sweet boy, I've always been in the background. Watching. Waiting. I only stepped forward now because Alana is worth stepping into the light for. You brought her into a lion's den thinking love would protect her. But love needs allies. And today she has one in me. Alana's eyes burned with unshed tears. Not of sadness, but of vindication. She looked at Evelyn, whose hands trembled slightly. Tell me, Evelyn, Alana said, what exactly did you plan to do with the information your little private investigator dug up? Use it to discredit me? Ruin me? Or was this about humiliating Julian for daring to love outside your design? Evelyn tried to speak, but the words tangled in her throat. Celeste continued, flipping open the folder. Let's talk about the real scandal, shall we? Misappropriated funds from the Whitmore Scholarship Trust. Property acquisitions using shell companies tied to offshore accounts. Charitable donations rerouted through shady nonprofits. Richard's face was now crimson. You can't prove any of that. Actually, Celeste said, pulling out a document, we can. Thanks to Alana's firm, and the audit your own paranoia triggered, every trace leads back to you. And here's the kicker. Since Alana now oversees the Foundation's compliance division, and I've secured a controlling interest on the board, we are in full position to push for a federal investigation if we choose to. Evelyn looked ready to faint. You wouldn't? You don't get to decide anymore, Alana said, standing. I don't need your approval. I don't even need your respect. But I will no longer let your entitlement go unchecked. Julian stood too. I should have seen it earlier. I thought maybe, just maybe, my parents could learn. But I was wrong. I was naive. And I won't be silent anymore. Richard sneered. You're willing to throw away your family's legacy for her? No, Julian said, his voice iron. I'm willing to build a better one with her. Evelyn's voice cracked. She's manipulated you, both of you. No, Celeste said softly. She's inspired us. There's a difference. Just then a new sound entered the room, the sharp, rhythmic clapping of expensive shoes on marble. Everyone turned to see Julian's younger sister, Isabel Whitmore, step into the room holding an iPad. You'll want to see this, she said, her eyes locked on her parents. What now? Richard snapped. Isabel handed the iPad to Celeste. It's a video, from the private investigator. He's flipped. What? Evelyn gasped. Isabel nodded. He sent a recording. Says he was hired by you, Dad, to find dirt on Alana. But what he found was something very different. Celeste hit play. A man's voice crackled through. I was hired to dig into Alana Price. But the more I found, the more I realized she was spotless. What disturbed me was the trail of financial manipulation tied to the Whitmore estate. Offshore accounts, falsified donation receipts. And when I tried to back out, Richard threatened me. I'm going public with everything. This family is corrupt. Richard lunged toward the iPad, but Julian caught him mid-stride. No more running. You would betray your own blood for this woman? Richard hissed. Julian looked at Alana, then back at his father. For this woman? I'd burn down everything I inherited if it meant building something honest with her. Evelyn's eyes filled with fury and fear. You think society will just accept this? That you can tear down generations of wealth with your social justice tantrums? Alana walked over to Evelyn and knelt beside her chair, locking eyes with the woman who had tried to break her. I'm not trying to tear down anything. I'm trying to make sure no one else is shut out of rooms they deserve to be in. Like you tried to shut me out of yours. Evelyn's mask cracked. You don't belong here. That's the difference between us, Alana said softly. I don't need to belong to be powerful. Then Celeste spoke again. The board will be holding an emergency session tomorrow. And you, Richard, will have the opportunity to resign. Quietly. Or be publicly removed. Your choice. Evelyn stood up, hands shaking. We won't let you destroy us. Celeste turned slowly. Oh, Evelyn. I'm not destroying you. I'm simply giving you the bill for everything you thought you got away with. Alana and Julian stood side by side, hand in hand, the tension still thick but the power dynamic permanently shifted. Isabel spoke next. For what it's worth, I'm glad you're here, Alana. Our families needed someone to challenge us for a long time. Evelyn turned on her daughter. Not you too. Yes, Isabel said coldly. Me too. Outside, thunder rumbled. As the storm approached, Celeste turned to Alana. The reckoning is just beginning. Are you ready for what's coming next? Alana nodded. Let's finish what they started. But just as they were about to leave the room, the housekeeper rushed in with a trembling voice. There's someone at the gate. Says he needs to speak with Alana, urgently. Julian frowned. Who? The housekeeper hesitated. He says he's her brother. And he has something she needs to hear. Something that changes everything. Alana blinked. My brother? Celeste looked alarmed. I thought he was overseas. So did I, Alana whispered. But if he's here, it means something's wrong. Julian took her hand. Do you want to see him? I have to, Alana said, heart pounding. Because if he's showing up now during all this, it's not by accident. As they stepped toward the door, the air seemed to pulse with something unspoken. Something bigger. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more powerful stories that uplift Black voices and expose hidden truths. The front door creaked open under the weight of tension, and there, standing in the rain-soaked entrance, was a tall, broad-shouldered man in a black trench coat with droplets glistening on his skin like armor. His eyes were sharp, weary, and locked instantly on Alana. Lana, he said, voice low but urgent. We need to talk. Now. Julian instinctively stepped forward, protective. Who are you? The man looked past him. I'm her brother. Isaiah. Alana blinked. Isaiah, what are you doing here? It's about Dad, he said, stepping inside, his boots echoing on the marble. And it can't wait. Celeste's eyes widened. What about Malcolm? Isaiah glanced at the surrounding faces. Julian, Isabel, even Evelyn and Richard, who now hovered near the stairs like ghosts unsure of their place in this new chapter. Not here. Not in front of them. Evelyn scoffed. This is our home. Not anymore, Alana said without turning. Isaiah, come with me. They walked into the sunroom, doors shutting behind them. Rain tapped the glass like a ticking clock. Isaiah looked haggard, unshaven, and not like the composed corporate strategist Alana remembered. You look like hell, she said, trying to keep her voice steady. He chuckled grimly. Been living it lately. What's going on? Is Dad okay? No, Isaiah said. He's gone. Alana's breath caught. What? Last week. I was the only one there. He died in his sleep. Alana backed into a chair, body numb. Why didn't anyone call me? Because he left instructions, not to. Until after you had that meeting with the Whitmores. He said you needed to be clear-headed. That this family, Isaiah gestured behind them, would try to break you. He didn't want them to win. Alana's hands trembled. He's really gone? Isaiah nodded. And he left you something. Not just a will. A confession. About everything he hid from you, including what happened to our mother. Alana froze. You mean the car crash? Isaiah shook his head. It wasn't an accident. And the woman you've hated all your life for walking away, she never left. She was forced out. Alana's world tilted. You're saying? Dad lied. About a lot, Isaiah said. He told me everything before the end. He wanted you to have it. He said it was time you knew who you really are, and why certain people have always tried to keep you small. What people? Isaiah pulled out a small flash drive and handed it to her. Watch it. He recorded everything. Names. Dates. Deals. Even a hidden connection between our family and the Whitmores. Alana's stomach turned. What kind of connection? Their money helped build our father's early career. But it wasn't clean. There was a price. A betrayal. You weren't just rejected by that family, Alana. You were used by them, before you were even born. Outside the door, Julian leaned in, his face pale from the muffled words he had managed to overhear. Evelyn and Richard had gone upstairs, retreating like kings whose throne had cracked beneath them. Isabel stood near the staircase, phone in hand, listening to a message and slowly turning to stone. She walked into the hallway and approached Julian. "There's more," she said quietly. "What do you mean?" "I just got a call from a contact at the Whitmore Trust. Someone's trying to access emergency funds. A transfer was initiated from one of Dad's offshore accounts to a new shell company in the Caymans." Julian's eyes widened. "He's making a run for it." "That's not the worst part," Isabel said, holding up her phone. "The account was co-signed by Mom." "No," Julian said. "That can't be right." "She's part of it," Isabel whispered. "She knew everything. Maybe even more than Dad." In the sunroom, Alana was still frozen. "So the Whitmores helped Dad rise and in return, he helped them cover something up?" "Worse," Isaiah said. "He helped them get rid of someone. Our real mother. Not the woman we were told was our mom." Alana's voice trembled. "What do you mean, real mother?" Isaiah sighed. "Dad had an affair with Evelyn Whitmore's younger sister. She got pregnant with you. Evelyn found out. And what followed was a quiet scandal. Money changed hands. Names were changed. And the woman you thought was your mother? Just a stand-in. A loyal fixer. The real one was institutionalized. Under a fake name." Alana couldn't breathe. "You're saying Evelyn is my aunt?" "By blood," Isaiah said. "But she did everything in her power to erase your mother. And now that Dad's gone, she probably thinks the truth died with him." Alana stood slowly, fury burning through her veins like fire through ice. "Then we make sure it doesn't." She marched to the door, yanked it open, and nearly ran into Julian. "You heard?" "Enough," he said. "And there's more. My parents are trying to flee. They've moved money." Isabel confirmed it. "Let them try," Alana said coldly. "But not before I make one final move." She turned to Celeste, who had re-entered the hallway after receiving a phone call of her own. "We need to call an emergency board session." "Already in motion," Celeste said. "But I just got word. Evelyn is en route to the airport. Private jet. Destination unknown." Alana's eyes narrowed. "Then we go to her. We intercept her before she escapes. Because I'm done letting people walk away from the mess they made." Julian nodded. "Let's finish this." Hours later, the Whitmore family's private jet sat on the tarmac at Westbridge Executive Airport. The hangar was quiet, until tires screeched across the runway. Alana, Julian, Celeste, and Isaiah stepped out of the SUV, their faces grim and determined. Inside the hangar, Evelyn barked orders at a staffer, bags already loaded. Richard paced nearby, phone glued to his ear. But when the doors swung open and Alana stepped through, everything stopped. Evelyn's face drained of color. "You shouldn't be here." "No," Alana said. "You shouldn't be leaving." "This is harassment," Richard snapped. "Get off private property." "This property is under investigation," Celeste replied, holding up a court-issued order of injunction. "You're not going anywhere." Evelyn's mask cracked. "You don't know what you're doing." "I know exactly what I'm doing," Alana said, stepping closer. "I'm reclaiming everything you tried to hide. Starting with the truth about my mother." Evelyn's hand trembled. "You don't know what you're talking about. Her name was Vanessa Whitmore. Your sister. She was silenced so your family wouldn't be embarrassed. But I remember her now. Her eyes. Her voice. She used to sing to me, and I thought it was a dream. It wasn't. She was real. And you buried her." Evelyn stepped back. "You were never supposed to know." "But I do," Alana said. "And you're going to answer for it." Police lights flared at the hangar entrance. Officers moved in, quiet but efficient. Celeste handed them documents. Tax fraud. Obstruction. Conspiracy to defraud a foundation. Richard dropped his phone. "You can't do this." "We already did," Julian said. "And I'll testify against you both if it means justice." Evelyn looked at her children, then at the officers slowly closing in. "We're Whitmores," she said bitterly. "You think any of this will stick?" "I don't think," Alana replied. "I know. Because I'm a Whitmore too. But not like you. I'm the part you tried to erase, and now I'm the part that will rebuild everything you destroyed." The officers moved in, placing cuffs on Richard. Evelyn tried to run, but Isaiah stepped in her way. Where's Vanessa? He demanded. Evelyn's face contorted. Gone. Forever. Then we'll find her, Alana said. And I'll bring her home. Evelyn was dragged toward the car, her cries lost in the chaos. As the jet doors shut behind the officers, Julian stepped beside Alana. It's over. No, Alana whispered, her eyes brimming with fire. It's just beginning. But then, Isaiah's phone buzzed. He glanced at the screen, and his face went pale. It's a message, from an unknown number. Says, you think Evelyn was the top. But the real puppeteer hasn't shown their face. Yet. Alana turned slowly. Then that means, Isaiah looked up, fear creeping into his voice. We're not done. Not even close. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more powerful stories that uplift Black voices and expose hidden truths. The silence that followed Isaiah's revelation was like a thunderclap in slow motion. The message on his phone pulsed ominously on the screen as the jet engines powered down in the background. You think Evelyn was the top. But the real puppeteer hasn't shown their face. Yet. Alana's breath caught. She'd thought uncovering her aunt's betrayal and exposing Evelyn and Richard was the endgame. But now, the rug had been ripped out from under her yet again. Her heart pounded, the name Vanessa echoing in her mind, along with the faces of the people who had tried to erase her. She slowly turned to Isaiah, who stood frozen with the phone in his hand. Who sent that? She whispered. I don't know, he said. Blocked number. Encrypted app. This is next level. This isn't just family drama, Lana. This is bigger. Celeste, still clutching the injunction papers, stepped closer. You're saying Evelyn wasn't acting alone? No, Isaiah said. She wasn't. Julian stepped forward, his jaw clenched. Who else could be behind this? Someone even richer. Even more dangerous, Isaiah said, rubbing the bridge of his nose. Someone who had an interest in making sure your mother disappeared. And that Evelyn and Richard stayed in power long enough to cover it all up. Alana narrowed her eyes. Then we follow the money. Starting with the Caymans. Celeste nodded. We'll trace every shell company Evelyn used, every asset she funneled. If someone else was pulling the strings, it'll show up in the money trail. Julian glanced at Alana. Are you ready for this? If Evelyn wasn't the top, then whoever is, won't hesitate to destroy you. Let them try, Alana said quietly. I was born in shadows. I've learned how to move through them. Over the next 48 hours, the team worked in overdrive. Isaiah reached out to cybersecurity contacts. Celeste activated forensic accountants. Julian used connections from law school, lawyers who owed him favors, to subpoena wire transfers and offshore registries. And Alana, she revisited every detail from her past. Every foster family. Every photo. Every whisper of a woman named Vanessa who had once sung to her under a starlit sky. Then came the break. Celeste burst into the penthouse meeting room, eyes wide. I found it. What? Alana stood. One of the shell corporations Evelyn used, Everstraw Holdings, it received consistent payments over 20 years, from a family trust located in Zurich. Isaiah furrowed his brow. Whose trust? Celeste placed a file on the table. The Sinclair Group. Alana frowned. That sounds familiar. Julian's face went pale. Because the Sinclairs are one of the oldest financial dynasties in Europe. I interned for one of them. Albert Sinclair. He knew your dad. They worked together during the early merger of Whitmore and Rowe. Isaiah stood. Wait, are you saying they bankrolled Malcolm? Celeste nodded. And there's more. A woman named Evelina Sinclair married into the Whitmore family over 40 years ago. She's Evelyn's mother. So Evelyn was reporting to her mother? Alana said, breath catching. No, Celeste replied, voice dropping. She was taking orders from her. The room fell still. Isaiah leaned back. That makes her the true matriarch. The original puppet master, Alana whispered. Where is she now? Switzerland, Celeste said. But she visits the U.S. twice a year, and she just landed in New York this morning. Julian exhaled. She's close. Alana's voice steeled. Then I'm going to see her. That's dangerous, Isaiah warned. This woman isn't Evelyn. She's powerful. Global powerful. You don't walk into her world unprepared. I'm not unprepared, Alana said. I have the truth. I have receipts. And I have nothing left to lose. That night, beneath a velvet sky draped over Manhattan, Alana stepped into the Echelon, a private, members-only club so exclusive it made the Whitmore's estate look like a strip mall. She wore black silk and diamonds, simple, elegant, commanding. Julian waited outside in the car. Celeste stayed connected via comms. Inside, the air smelled like power. Like old money, deception, and secrets. A concierge led her to the rooftop lounge, where a tall woman in her 80s sat beside a fireplace, sipping brandy and reading a leather-bound book. "Miss Evelina Sinclair?" Alana said softly. The woman looked up, her silver hair swept into a tight chignon. Her pale eyes flicked over Alana like a scanner. "I know who you are. Sit." Alana did. "You know why I'm here." Evelina chuckled. "Of course. You found the edges of the puzzle. Now you want the picture on the box." "Why?" Alana asked. "Why did you help erase my mother?" Evelina swirled her drink. "Because she was inconvenient." Evelyn was reckless. Her sister's affair with Malcolm threatened everything. The family legacy, the merger, the image. And I warned her. I told her, handle it or I will. "So you institutionalized her?" "I had her relocated. Quietly. Your father agreed. He was paid handsomely to fall in line." Alana's voice trembled with fury. "She was your own daughter. That's precisely why I did it. Because blood means power. And power must be preserved at all costs. You ruined lives. I shaped empires." Evelina leaned forward. "But now you threaten that balance. You, the mistake that survived." Alana stood slowly. "I'm not a mistake. I'm the reckoning." Evelina's gaze darkened. "If you go public, I'll erase you too. Just like I erased her." "Then I hope your memory is sharper than your conscience," Alana said. "Because I'm not backing down." Suddenly, a staffer ran into the lounge, whispering into Evelina's ear. The woman stiffened. "What is it?" Alana demanded. Evelina's face turned to stone. "Your brother, he leaked the files." Alana's heart raced. "What files?" "Everything. The institutionalization records. The payoffs. The shell companies. The bribes. It's already online." Evelina turned slowly, eyes blazing. "You'll burn us all down for your vengeance?" Alana's voice was cold steel. "No. I'll burn down the lies. The truth will rise from the ashes." Evelina stood, trembling with rage. "You don't know what you've started, girl." "Yes," Alana said, turning to leave. "A legacy of truth." She walked away, heels clicking like gavel strikes. Back in the car, Julian looked up as she entered. "How did it go?" "She threatened me," Alana said. "But it's too late. The world will know." Isaiah's voice came through the earpiece. "You need to see this. The media's going wild. But there's a twist." "What twist?" "The hospital where Vanessa was institutionalized, they say she was released 10 years ago. Someone signed her out. Using forged documents." Alana's breath hitched. "You mean, she's alive?" "We don't know where she is. Yet. But she's not dead." Alana's hand covered her mouth. "Then I have to find her." Julian took her hand. "And I'll be right there with you." But just then Celeste's voice cut in. "Alana, we have a problem." "What now?" "Someone else accessed the files before we leaked them. Someone wiped certain sections." "What sections?" "The ones about who really forged the hospital release forms. The ones with the name of the person who helped Vanessa escape." Alana leaned forward. "Who would do that?" Celeste paused. "Whoever did it, they didn't do it for money. They did it out of guilt." Alana's heart thundered. "Don't tell me, it was someone inside the Whitmore family," Celeste said. "And Alana, it was Isabel." Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more powerful stories that uplift Black voices and expose hidden truths. The revelation hit Alana like a rogue wave. Isabel? The sweet, reserved, seemingly harmless cousin who had barely said a word during the chaos. She had released Vanessa? What? Oh. The car was silent as Celeste's voice echoed in her earpiece, heavy with uncertainty. "Alana, are you still there?" Alana swallowed hard. "Yeah, I'm here. But I need answers. Now." Within the hour, they tracked Isabel to a quiet estate in upstate New York. The drive was long, the roads winding and flanked by tall evergreens. As the car pulled up, Alana could see Isabel sitting on the porch, her expression unreadable. Julian turned to Alana. You sure you want to do this? I have to. Alana stepped out and approached slowly. Isabel looked up, her eyes already glossy with tears. I was wondering when you'd come. Why? Alana asked, standing at the foot of the steps. Why did you help my mother? And why didn't you tell me? Isabel motioned for her to sit. Because I was afraid. Afraid of what she might do to me. To everyone. You mean Evelina? Isabel nodded. I grew up watching her destroy anyone who didn't fall in line. Evelyn, Richard, even my own mother. She turned us all into pawns. But when I found out what she did to Vanessa, I couldn't live with it. Alana leaned forward. Tell me everything. Isabel took a deep breath. It was 10 years ago. I was doing some estate audits when I stumbled on medical bills and transfer documents. Something didn't add up. I followed the paper trail and found Vanessa, alive, institutionalized under a fake name, sedated, forgotten. I bribed a nurse to let me in. When I saw her, barely able to speak, staring at the ceiling, I knew I had to act. I forged the release, smuggled her out, paid for her care. But I couldn't bring her home. If Evelina found out, her voice cracked. So where is she now? Alana asked, gripping the edge of the seat. Isabel stood slowly and pulled out her phone. She's safe. And she's waiting for you. An hour later, Alana stood in front of a cozy lake house nestled deep in the Catskills. Her heart pounded as the door creaked open. And there, standing in the doorway, was a woman with familiar brown eyes, streaks of silver in her curly hair, and a trembling hand that covered her mouth the moment she saw Alana. Mama? Alana whispered. Vanessa burst into tears and ran into her arms, collapsing into a sob of decades-long anguish, joy, and unspeakable release. They held each other as the sky turned orange with dusk. Julian watched from afar, tears in his eyes. Isabel wiped her own and turned away. Inside, over tea and soft music, Vanessa began to speak. Her voice was hoarse but her spirit was strong. They told me you died in childbirth, she said. They said it was better for everyone if I forgot. Alana held her hand. But I never forgot you. Even when I didn't know your name. Over the next few days, the entire truth unraveled. Vanessa had fallen in love with Malcolm Whitmore, but their union was viewed as scandalous by the matriarch, Evelina, who believed it would dilute the Whitmore legacy. When Vanessa refused to terminate the pregnancy, Evelina ordered her institutionalized, forging diagnoses and paying off doctors. Malcolm was paid to remain silent, and he did. Alana was placed in foster care under the guise of a closed adoption. Meanwhile, Evelyn was elevated to preserve appearances. But now the story had exploded into the media. The files Isabel hadn't erased were enough to expose decades of corruption. Major outlets picked up the scandal. Headlines screamed, Black heiress found after years in hiding, matriarch manipulated family empire for decades, and secret daughter of the Whitmores reunited with mother. The stock price for Whitmore and Rowe plummeted. Lawsuits followed. Congressional inquiries began. Evelina Sinclair was placed under investigation for human rights violations, fraud, and abuse of power. Richard and Evelyn were subpoenaed. And amidst the rubble, Alana stood tall, not as a victim but as a woman reclaiming her power. She held press conferences with grace, always flanked by Julian, Vanessa, Isaiah, and Celeste. She didn't seek revenge. She spoke truth. And in doing so, she dismantled an empire built on lies. Months passed. Vanessa slowly healed. Julian proposed to Alana under the same starlit sky where she once dreamed of family, legacy, and peace. Will you marry me not because of who you are, but because of who we can be together? He said. Alana smiled. Yes. 1,000 times yes. The wedding was intimate. No lavish spectacle. Just chosen family, quiet vows, and joy. As they danced, Alana caught sight of Isabel standing at the edge of the garden. She walked over, wrapped her cousin in a hug, and whispered, "Thank you for saving her. For saving me." Isabel smiled through tears. "You saved yourself, Alana. I just lit the path." Later that night, as Alana stood on the balcony with her mother, sipping tea, Vanessa turned to her. "You are more than a Whitmore. You're more than a Sinclair. You are the woman they tried to silence. And you spoke louder than them all." Alana leaned on her shoulder. "And now, Mama, we begin again. Never let someone else's fear of your greatness dim your light. No matter how deep the lies go, truth has a way of rising. Power isn't about titles, race, or wealth. It's about integrity, resilience, and the courage to speak up. Even when you're rejected, underestimated, or erased, remember, your value is not defined by their acceptance. It's defined by your truth. The end. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more powerful stories that uplift Black voices and expose hidden truths.